and welcome to the FringeRX podcast. I'm Anna Strong, and I'm on a mission to find a cure for autoimmune. We talk education, healing, support, do's, don'ts, wins, and losses, all to improve our quality of life. And it's the remote series. I'm starting to like this. You know, it's like life. Sometimes it just got to show up. I have a wonderful guest here. Her name is Avital. She is from New York. She's a beautiful woman, a beautiful spirit. She gives to life as she gives to everyone she comes in contact with. I can't wait for you to meet her. So, Avital, come on down.
Hey there.
Hi. How have you been?
Amazing.
Oh, that's always a great way to answer. Amazing. You know, a lot of times when people will say, you know, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm okay. But really, you should always be like amazing. You know, I mean, sometimes your words and your subconscious hears you. So if you're amazing, that's just your push for the rest of the day. Tell us a little bit about how you found out you had an autoimmune. And what kind do you have?
Yeah, so I was 12 years old and I started experiencing those symptoms of feeling full after I'm eating, bloated, pain, nausea, vomiting. And after I spoke up to my parents, they took me to the doctor. The doctor said I was fine. I was also losing a lot of weight, and I was about 60 pounds at 12 years old. So you can imagine that's very underweight. And the
How tall were
doctor
you?
just 5'3".
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
you were a rail.
And
Yeah.
the doctor said, "Oh, girls that age all just want to be skinny." And so we got it in my parents' head that I was bulimic and anorexic, which wasn't the case. I loved food. I had a good relationship with food. Um, and yeah, I was
What
just throwing up.
was it just passing through you, or were you just like, you know, rejecting it the whole time? Because sometimes people can't absorb the food itself, and they get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And other people, you know, it's just that, you know, they turn into the exorcist and they can't keep anything down. Which was the latter for you?
Kind of a mix of it all.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
it was just my insides were so inflamed and flared up, and food just wasn't able to pass. So I was throwing up, and then the other way,
Yeah.
food wasn't absorbing. It wasn't absorbing, so that's how I was losing the weight.
So, what was your parents' reaction to them saying that this is normal? And I mean, did they have a clue?
Well, they thought that maybe I was pretending, like most kids that age, as far as like I don't feel good, I don't want to eat. And after a few months of, me, I just kept losing weight, and just not feeling well. Finally took me to the doctor again, and my usual doctor wasn't there. It was another doctor, and she took my temperature, my heart rate, my blood pressure, and said immediately she needs to go to the emergency room. Something's wrong with her. Like,
Terribly wrong. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank God.
yeah. So we went, and they had to admit me right away because they couldn't figure it out within a couple hours. So they admitted me for additional tests, and I was in the hospital for about a week until they figured out what was going on with me. And finally, they figured it out, and it was Crohn's. So that was the diagnosis.
That was that. You know, a lot of people who experience Crohn's, they experience it later on in life, and you were only 12 years old. You're very lucky that you ran into somebody that would actually come up with that diagnosis. Was it a blood test that they did, or was it just connecting the dots? If somebody's feeling this way, what tests would you advise them to do?
Yeah, well, I got all the tests done. I got a CAT scan, got, blood tests every day. What else?
What finally
Colonoscopy.
Yeah, what finally kicked in the diagnosis?
I think it was the mix of the CAT
Everything?
scan and the colonoscopy. You know, once they went inside, they scoped it out. They could see how inflamed it was. There was like strictures, and they actually had to send me to surgery within the next 2 days. So I had to have my first surgery 2 days after diagnosis, and they removed part of my intestines because it was just so damaged, and they had to remove it.
So what happened after that? Were you able to go home? Did things get better?
Yeah, so I was in the hospital for a couple more weeks for recovery. And, you know, back then there wasn't a lot of education, not a lot of support or knowledge around how to heal properly, how to manage symptoms, you know, outside of medication, right? They put me on, I think it was 6-MP back then. It was just a pill. And that was okay for a couple years, but then symptoms came back, and I was straight back into the hospital at age 16 for another
Wow.
surgery. Yeah, we didn't change much of the diet because a doctor said that it doesn't really matter what you eat. You have Crohn's, you can only manage it through symptom control, through medication.
Now, where were you living at the time? I know you're in New York and freezing your ass off right now, but where were you living? Was it like a major city? Was the hospital in a major city?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, well, see, yeah, and you think that they would know or be trained, but a lot of doctors are getting trained by their patients right now because in this country we're trained to throw medication at symptoms and there's a lot of other ways that you can take control of your life. This finding out that the same thing is happening again when you're 16 years old, what kind of emotional stress did that put you under?
A lot of anger.
Yeah.
I became a very angry teenager afterwards. You know, I was mad at my parents. I was mad at the doctors, really anyone who tried to help me because, you know, it was just a really tough situation. I actually ended up moving out of my parents' home at 17 to go just be on my own because that's what I needed. I really needed to figure myself out on my own. And so I was doing pretty well health wise up until age 25. And all the partying, drinking, drugs, rock and roll,
Well,
all
that
those
comes
years
with
of
the
damage.
anger, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, all of the years of damage on my body finally caught up to me at 25, and I had another surgery. I was back in the hospital, same thing. And that was actually one of my, that was one of the moments that it was a changing moment for me. It was a transformational moment because at that
That was a turning
time,
point. Yeah,
turning point, that's the word I was looking for.
yeah.
So that was the moment where I decided I needed to change something. And there's more moments like that, and I'll share with you in a little bit. But basically, at that point, we decided my boyfriend then, husband now, we decided to move to Denver. There was something that was calling us. Part of that was just the way of life there. It's more calming. You know, they focus on reducing stress, very mindful, right? Very open people. And there's just other options out there that I didn't have in Houston, right?
Well,
Like medical marijuana.
I was just going to say that
Yeah.
they were one of the first people to allow medical marijuana, and I think that you're
Hmm.
even allowed to grow magic mushrooms in your backyard. You're not allowed to do them, but you can grow them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what that is, but you're allowed
Yeah.
to have a cow and grow mushrooms, but you're not allowed
Hmm.
to do them. So obviously you're allowed to,
Hmm.
do a little bit. I've met people that actually do low doses every day. So how long were you in Denver?
Yeah, and actually, real quick, at this last surgery, I also had to get an ileostomy put in.
What's that?
So ileostomy. So basically, when they went in there to try to remove some of the intestines, they couldn't because it was so inflamed and it was touching the other organs, and so they just couldn't do anything. So instead, they decided to put in a temporary ileostomy, which like is like a bag
Okay.
that hangs
Okay.
outside, that diverts part of the intestines so that that section isn't being used. So instead, I'm like pooping out of a bag.
Right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had that for a year
Oh,
when I moved to
so
Denver.
you didn't get stuck with it for the rest of your life. You just only had it for a
Mm-hmm.
year. Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
and let's skip to the next turning point. What happened then? You have me
Yeah.
totally
So
intrigued.
yeah. So after my last surgery, the ileostomy reversal, where they put everything back together, I was sitting with my doctor, and she was going over my post-operation plan. So, what medication she wants to put me on and so forth. And she started off by saying she wants to start me on 6 months of antibiotics. And I laughed at her. I'm like, are you trying to kill me? Like, and at this point,
Right.
I have already been in Denver for a good couple months. I started educating myself about how things really work. And I understand how antibiotics just destroy your gut bacteria.
Right.
So, 6 months of antibiotic use,
That's a
like
long
that's
time.
just going to kill me. Like I have nothing to take, at that point. And so then she continued to state that she wants to increase my Stelara dose. I was taking Stelara, which is an immunosuppressant drug, from 8 weeks to 4 weeks. And then she said that if I don't get better, I'm going to have to be put on TPN, total parental nutrition, and eating like a food, like a
Like a
tube
tube?
in my arm. Yeah, a
Yeah.
tube in my arm, feeding tube for the rest of my life and not be able to eat food ever again. So that
Wow.
was my big turning point. So at that point, I said, I'm done. I'm done with Western medicine. I'm going on my own holistic healing journey because this isn't working for me. I was feeling worse and worse every day, and like there's some moments where I just couldn't get out of bed. It was tough physically and mentally, and I just wasn't getting better. And this system didn't work for me, and
So,
so
so basically, when you hear about people that get put on feeding tubes and they're like not even conscious, I mean, you were going to be basically the same thing except for walking around. Like one
yeah,
tube
with
in and
a
one tube
backpack.
out, and I say, yeah,
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 you get a little backpack, and I've had it before a couple of times. You have a little backpack, you put like the bag in there, and then there's a tube that's on your arm, and you're just walking around like normal.
and then you go hiking.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
So, what
Yeah.
is your holistic advice for people? I mean, what is your regimen?
Yeah, so nutrition, lifestyle, mindset. Nutrition is a big part of it, right? Just eating real food, cut the processed food out, cut the added sugars. There's inflammatory foods, cut those out, and really just focus on real foods. And everybody is different, so you got to figure out what works for you. But that was a big thing because when I was diagnosed with Crohn's, the diet was white bread, white pasta.
Are you
you know,
kidding?
big, yeah, yeah. So it was just feeding the disease instead of healing it.
Yeah,
So really,
Wonder
focusing
Bread,
on,
some bologna, and some
yeah,
cheese.
that's
Um,
exactly what they were feeding me. Yeah,
and hospital food, of course. Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
I'm on AIP. What particular diet did you have to start on? And I know you probably modulated it, but which ones did you try?
AIP. AIP did
AIP?
it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
really
it's
made a big
really
difference with me too.
it's very nutrient dense, and also just they're all kind of very similar. Paleo, Whole
Yeah.
30, keto. It just really focuses on whole foods and nutrient dense.
I know Whole Foods should be a sponsor on my show because how many times everybody says we need Whole Foods, you know?
And I mean whole foods, like real food, but yeah, Whole Foods
So,
is a good place to get
so
that.
okay, so you've and what's really weird is that I mean, I got diagnosed 4 years ago. Okay, you got diagnosed finally when you were 16, right? You got sick when you were 12. I got sick probably 10 years before my diagnosis because doctors are really not educated as far as like, hey, this could be an autoimmune, this could be this, and a lot of people are misdirected and really start to feel crappy about themselves because it's all in their head, they're making it up and all this other stuff, which is the last thing you want to hear when you're not feeling well. But how are you feeling now? Are you able to do the things that you want to do in life now?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the best that I felt in a very, very long time. I'm still on my healing journey. I'm still, experiencing symptoms like bloating, diarrhea. Given that I have half my bowels left, half my
Right.
intestines left, so it's gonna take time to heal. Just like you didn't get sick overnight, it's not gonna heal overnight. So it's still, I'm on my healing journey.
Yeah, but
But just mentally,
that's a
I
really good mindset. I mean, you're not saying, well, this is what I have to deal with now. You're saying like, hey, I'm on a road, and this is going to take some time. You have a really healthy outlook on it. It's not like oh well, they've already done this, so this is where I am. No, I'm getting better, and these are the steps that I'm taking. What's really really strange to me is that since the COVID-19 and everybody was like hey, you got to quarantine, you got to stay home, and all this stuff. There's an awareness that is sparked up, and you're hearing people go like mind body soul, and I think it's when enough people think about something, they throw it out into the universe, that people start to say, hey, this is what we have to do in order for us to not only heal ourselves, heal our planet, and heal the way that we are living day-to-day life, and how we appreciate each other. So, it's how can people get in touch with you? I know you're doing a lot of things on the internet right now, as far as one, being an inspiration, but two, advising other people, no matter what kind of or what part of their journey on their health they're on, different things that they can do. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram at Thrive with Avital, THRIVE with WITHAVITAL. My website will be up soon as well. I actually am back in school now, getting certified in integrative nutrition. So I'm already
Nice.
working and helping other people one-on-one that are, that have autoimmune disorders, and helping them just take back control of their health and manage their symptoms holistically.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned, like when you were 25 years old and you were getting your first epiphany, that you had look at that's my Reinhardt's right there. See that in that weird? It's very cold in the studio. I suffer for my people. Yeah, you mentioned that you were with your boyfriend and he's now your husband. So how old are you, and how long have you guys been together?
Yep, I'm 29
Okay.
and we've been together for 6 years now.
Oh, congratulations. He
Yeah,
must be a
thank
wonderful
you.
person because, I mean, to be so supportive, and go through all this with you, you found somebody that's really
Yeah,
great. So,
absolutely.
um, uh, yeah, there's so many things that you've touched on that are wonderful. But what can you, if you could wrap it up for the audience, what is like, give us like your top three of the things that you really really have them do in order to you know give them the best foot forward.
Sure. Just remember that you have the power you have a choice as to how you want to live your life, and you can choose to wake up every day and not look forward to it, really just hate your life. But you can also choose to wake up every day to be excited, and you get to try again. You get to experience life and do the things that make you happy. That's one of the main things I would say is just that outlook, right? It's all about perspective. Everyone has challenges, and it's just all about how you choose to see them.
That's wonderful advice. That's wonderful advice. I discovered a guy named Dr. Wayne Dyer years ago when I wasn't feeling well and I didn't know what it was, and I was searching on the internet, and he had a book out. It said, "Change your thoughts, change your life." And it was the beginning of a journey of me realizing, that some of my inside mantra was not very good. That sometimes when you have negative thoughts, that can bring around negative things in your life. So positive thoughts, and you can be conscious about it too, and purposely go into a positive mindset at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. It's very important. And I think you were just amazing because when are you going to start this? Are you in nutrition class right now, or is this you're
Well,
going to start?
I'm already working with clients. I've been in school. I'm almost done, but I have my certificate where I can practice, and
Oh, great!
I'm
So
already
yeah, you are
working
almost
with
done. Yeah.
a couple clients. Yeah,
Congratulations, and
thank you.
and you're living proof of it. So that's great. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today and giving us your time, and I want to thank you for just being a great spirit in the world. And we'll have you back. We'll fly you out when this COVID thing is over and have you out in the studio.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Anna.
All right. Thank you very much, Avital. And thank you for joining us today. Please share this experience. Share and subscribe to our channel. Spread awareness. Spread joy. Spread hope. Spread love. Join us on our Patreon community. Stay tuned in next week. Stay strong and golden.